Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and it's time for another From My Bookshelf. And this week I have Mathew Brady, America's First Great Photographer. Now, this is a fascinating book. I love history, and I love photographic history. When you go back over 150 years or further to the daguerreotypes, which were the first ways of recording photographs, through the change of the technology that they talk about in this book, going from the daguerreotype to the wet plate process. I mean, it's not something that we haven't seen ourselves, going from film to digital, and how Mathew Brady didn't embrace it early on because he was all about quality, and he didn't feel that the other new style was full of quality, but then he saw the need to move over to it. A lot of the stuff that you hear about Mathew Brady is more that he didn't take those photos during the Civil War, or he staged some of them. Sure, some of them were staged. Also, reading this book, you realize very early on he had a vision problem. He had inflammation in the eyes that caused a lifelong problem for him to see. So that's interesting. I can relate definitely to the seeing issues. But he took some of the most amazing historical photographs of all time that if he wasn't around to do it, nobody would have the photos from the Civil War. Or there would be photos, but maybe not as many, because he funded sending out 35 different teams of photographers all around the different battlefields to capture it. He thought that he'd be able to sell the images to people, but also in his early years, you know that he was a business person. He opened up different studios. He had different galleries all over New York. He went to Washington, where he photographed Abraham Lincoln the first time. Lincoln on the $5 bill and the penny are directly taken from his photographs. So he became a friend of Abraham Lincoln. And I did, read some. I've gone through this book, and I love what is in here. I mean, I love the history of photos. I love seeing these photos that are over 160 years old. Just the historic nature that he captured is just amazing. The photos are insane when you think back to the process that they had to go through. So I've bookmarked a page that I want to read using my Kesha Photo Pass as a bookmark. This does not come with the book. And let me get right to it. In 1844, Brady opened his first photographic studio, Brady's Dugarine Miniature Gallery, which was located on the 4th floor of a building that stood on the corner of Broadway and Fulton Street in New York City. By the end of the year, there were almost 100 photography studios in New York City. But Brady was soon the acknowledged leader. Even from the beginning, Brady was dedicated to quality and professional excellence. The camera, and I quote, "The camera is the eye of history," he once noted. "You must never make bad pictures." He latched on very early on. He realized that if he photographed for the wealthy, he could make more money, but he's also capturing some very interesting people. He put out a $30 13-page book that weighed 5 pounds that was more like a catalog for the rich and famous to find him. He wanted to set himself higher, better quality than other photographers. So he marketed himself better than most of the photographers that were out there during this time. In one of the pictures he took of Abraham Lincoln, as you will read in the book, became known as one of the first publicity photos that they feel helped put a face on Lincoln that people saw as calming, and that this is the right guy for the job. And so that is amazing that he was there from literally day one of photography, and adapting to the times and coming up with business practices. And you'll also find out in the book that he died penniless and all of that good stuff for whatever reason. So I recommend this book, Mathew Brady, America's First Great Photographer. You can get it on Amazon for less than I paid for it, which was 25 bucks at Barnes & Noble back in the day. You can check them out on Amazon. They're like 18 bucks or maybe even $13 used or new from other sellers. So check it out. And that's my bookshelf for this week. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.